Shalom, Michael here, speak on the ministry in Throuh, Gilbert, Arizona at the time. Brukatah Yorubabe Lehinu Amelak Alam Me Yorubabe, who is Yeshua, Pasak Uzen, Pasak Ayin, Pasak Lebka, Yalatab Damshe Bashim Yeshua Mashiach, Me Yorubabe, who is Yeshua, our salvation. Open your ears, your eyes, and your hearts to the revealing of something that needs to be debunked a long time ago. Believe me when I tell you, you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear and hearts to perceive. And in this day of creation right now, the false prophet and the liars are going to be in the lake of fire, whatever that means. I can only hope and try to be a light to help others understand that truth is available at the tips of your fingers. Or you can tip your fingers to the false prophets and the lies. And the gift of prophecy, according to Revelation, is those who have the testimony of Yeshua is my Messiah, my Redeemer, my atonement, my Savior, in the keeping of the commandments, which, I'm trying to do the best I can. Shabbat is one of the biggest ones that most people don't understand. And Yeshua is that Shabbat, and the gift of worship is work. You're working the kingdom, and you're helping people understand the truth. And we've been lied to all of our lives, so this teaching is basically, I didn't want to drag it on, but about the flat earth. I forgot to pull it up on my phone here, so I will speak while I'm pulling this up. The flat earth. Why do people believe that? And yet, if you're a surveyor, or if you've ever been to the ocean, or if you've ever seen a lunar or even a solar eclipse, it clearly identifies. I've seen 5 lunar eclipses, the blood red moons and all that. I've been involved with hundreds of people, or around 100 people, around 30 people, around 20 to 30 again, and then a couple times with, just me, or I think it was just me. But also a solar on top of the parking garage in Gilbert, Arizona. Now, this clearly, you see the Earth moving between the moon and the sun. And so it is clearly not flat. I mean, you can see the curvature. It's like the beginning and the end is like a rabbi with a kippah on. So it's just amazing. I mean, my eyes can see. I thank goodness I was born on a farm. And do my nutrition on there from eating things from the garden and things from the orchard that my best friends had, it helps your temple. And so the sunshine is another thing. I could rarely in my life could I ever stand sunglasses, although I wanted to be cool and wear them, but I didn't like the darkness above my eyes. And there are plenty of sun gazers now that, say that their eyes increase when they stare at the sun, but I've always worked mostly outside. I mean, the elements, construction. So I'm thankful for that. But I can clearly see the heavenly realm. So yesterday, the day before, we was discussing blowing the shofar and celebrating the conjunction. And so we got in a discussion. The conjunction is the 2 days where the moon is not visible. It is completely hidden. And so most say that that's the start of the month. But the Bible in Genesis clearly states that the sun, the moon, and the stars were assigned seasons and appointed times. So you're to blow your shofar at the Rosh Kadosh, at the new moon. And the Exodus is the full moon. And there's supposed to be a gathering at the full moon. So if you do the conjunction the 14th and the 15th day of the month, which is the full moon, works. If you do the sliver of the moon, the sighting moon, which we just seen last night, I forget the day's date, but we just seen last night, today's the 23rd, so the 22nd at evening, we seen the sliver, and believe me, it was beautiful. And when the sky was completely dark, and the moon was still hanging just a little bit above the horizon, it was the most thin, beautiful picture you could ever see in your life. And Pastor Mark Bilt teaches that this is the very month that they came out of Egypt and the Exodus, and lots of things he shared upon this month. And so, which is, the Passover will be 14 days. On the eve of the 14th, we slaughter the lamb. And basically, Yeshua, no more animal sacrifice, but a lot of people like to eat in the remembrance of the Exodus, in the remembrance of Yeshua being nailed to the cross on Pesach, Passover. And so 14 days from today, basically, or last night, counting one, today counting two, is the slaughtering of the lamb at sunset. And then we eat the lamb, and we do unleavened bread for 7 days, or the matzah. And so, but in that, we got to talking about the conjunction and sighting the moon in the morning. That when you're conjunction, you watch the morning sky, and you can see the sliver of the moon at the beginning of the conjunction going down for the last time. And you see it in the east. And so the look of that is the Muslim sign of the moon. It is the Muslim sign of the moon. And so that's on their religious documents or whatever. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to Google, because the flat earthers believe that the earth is flat, and you know, the reason you can't see the aurora borealis, whatever that word is, the lights in Alaska, you know, makes no sense to me, but they can't even give a justification of that. And then if you've ever been on the beach in low tide and high tide, you can park your car in low tide, and then you go away for a few hours and come back, and your car could be almost underwater or could be underwater. And so there's no way that if the earth is flat, the tilting in that we don't feel it. One moment we're going uphill, the next moment we're going down, and whoa, we're like this on a boat. So only way it can work is if the earth is round, which it actually works perfect. And then you set if you're a surveyor, you set a level on concrete or a beach or whatever that can't move, and you get it perfectly level. You set a surveyor's rod, basically a measuring stick, in a boat, and send the boat out, and you'll see the curvature of the rod will actually go out of sight. It won't really go up, it won't stay same, it'll go out of sight. And then if you just watch the sunset and the sunrise, there is no way that beautiful picture of the sunset or the beautiful picture of the sunrise, where you can almost touch the sun itself, can ever work in a flat earth. It just can't. There's no possible way, people. And if you just do the distance of that, there's like no possible way. So this is one thing that I want you to know. So in this debunking of the flat earth, I said, you know what? Let's look at the moon, because the moon, when Rosh Kadosh, when the new moon arrives, it's in the west. It actually, just before, right when the sun's setting, beyond the horizon, you'll see a glimpse of the moon. It'll be a sliver like your thumbnail, and it's this part of the little thumbnail. It's very small, but you'll be looking, and all of a sudden, there it is. You know what I mean? It's exciting. But I thought, it looks like this. It's this way, because the sun is setting on uh, basically, if you're looking at it in the west, the right side the sun is setting, so you get the moon. The shining of the moon is on the side where the sun is, the little clip that catches the light of the sun. And so in America, I googled the crescent moon, and well, first I'll let you see this. It is the, whoops, it is the crescent moon, and you can see it there. Now I'll make it a little bigger. And this is in our country. This is in the United States. So that's what it looks like. Okay, now I'm going back to Israel, and this the new moon days, Nazarene, Israel, and you can see that it is opposite. The moon's on the sun will be setting on the left side. So the only way that that could happen is the Earth has to be round. I mean, it's the only way it can happen. It can't. The west is west and east is east, people. You can't have east-west because of the flat Earth and west-east. It just don't make no sense. So when you're looking to the west, that is when you see the new moon. And in America, where we're at, the moon, the sun is on the right and the moon is on the left, being the curvature as I showed you in the picture. When you're on the other side of the world, bottom, top, or whatever, southern hemisphere, the round Earth, the sun is on the left as you're looking to the west, and the moon is up here, and you get the other part of the sun and the moon lit. So right there in the evidence of the moon in Israel versus the moon in the United States proves to you, the Rosh Kadosh, the new moon, proves to you that the earth is round. In a flat earth, it would never work. You're always looking west, so there's no way that that can ever happen, no matter what anybody says, anytime, any place, or whatever. And so, besides the high tide, low tide, besides the lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, besides the boat and the surveyor and tool, the Seattleite, the level, perfectly set level, and I'm sorry, you can do electronic distance meter or whatever you want, but the sunset and the sunrise itself proves that there's no way the Earth is flat. And the aurora borealis, or whatever it's called in Alaska, if the Earth was flat, we should be set up on top of the highest mountain and see that with the naked eye, or even with a telescope. And there's no way you can, because the Earth is curved. There's just no way. I mean, if the Earth was flat, you go to the highest mountain, you could see these things with a telescope or something. You can't, because it's curvature. You have to go up in a plane and come down, I guess. Whatever. Within all that, Israeli, I did a teaching not too long ago. So we're debunking the flat Earth because of the moon itself. All you have to do is look for it and see it. You study it. I've been studying it since 2011 or 12. I believe it was 11, but definitely by 12. I've been looking at counting the days. I forget sometimes, but all of a sudden there it is. So I've been observing it since that time. But I'm also an Iowa farm boy. And, Grandpa said you had to be all these things to even be a farmer. You had to be a banker, a lawyer, a gambler, a carpenter, a mechanic, agriculturist. You had to know your poisons. You had to know the sun, the moon, and the stars, the signs of the seasons. You had to know the temperature of the ground. You had to know your moisture. You had to know your pesticides, your herbicides, you had to know, be a veterinarian. You had to take care of your animals. You You had to know, the fruit of the tree and the herbs from the ground. You had to know the water. You had to know all these things, uh, east, west, south, and or north, south, east, and west, just to observe, where how you're going to plant. I mean, these things are naturally born into me, and I was taught most of my life at a very young age. My parents didn't throw me off into some kind of a preschool sanctuary, whatever you want to call it. I was out with my family working the earth, working the ground, playing wherever, swimming, riding, whatever, observing these things. So I knew that the river runs south, and that was a gift in my direction, east, northeast, south, and west, easily. I just remember which way the river ran. And even though, it goes like this, but basically it heads south. So Israeli News Live today come up with the inner earth type thing. So I'm going to post that link, hopefully, in the description box, so you can listen to the Israel News guy, and he can tell you about the rabbis know that there's the inner earth, and that the reptilian race is there, and many others, but proven that the teaching I did on the Garden of Eden has been found, the inner earth, and something else, uh, proven in the biblical text. Oh yeah, I did. Hell has been found. That's the Gehenna. So basically, wake up, people. It is time that the truth being revealed. Things are changing. Israeli News Live. We know we're going to a digital currency before you know it. Gold and silver is part of that. You don't have to worry about the mark of the beast. Believe me, it is. The number of the beast is man-made tradition. So if you're following man or anything about man, you need the biblical text so you can understand which man you're following. And the Bible right now is the true word, even though it's transliterated for us. When you learn the Hebrew, it'll change your mind. And remember, no other name under heaven shall one be saved by. People were all in trouble because maybe it's no other character under heaven. That is what my study of 18 years has come up with. In the Hebrew, each name describes what that name is doing. There's no other character in heaven, as Yeshua told the rich man, sell everything you own and come follow me and you'll have treasure in heaven. Give to the poor, is what he said. Sell everything you own and give it to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven. And the man didn't want to do that. Well, I see that most people are really materialistic in this world, and now that the world is coming to a so-called exposure of what it's really like, that people are going to serve the money to survive, and you're going to have to make a choice, whether you're going to work for Yudavavhe, who is Yeshua, who is Elohim, or whether you're going to work for man and be a slave to an evil system. And whether it be septimark or nothing, man-made tradition. And so that's the scary thing, the man-made tradition. The mark of the beast, whatever that word is, and the Greek, New Testament Greek, the living word or whatever, guy does the only one word in the whole New Testament that adds up to 666 if you calculate the number of the beast. And it's, maybe I'll put that link in there too. It is the traditions of men. So within all that, I hope that this goes to every flat earth teacher out there that, evidently they're blind, and there's no doubt in my mind they are blind. And it's time that their eyes get opened and their hearts perceive and their ears hear. You don't have to be a rocket science to know that we have things in space. I mean, I can see them flashing all the time, and so hallelujah for that. But yeah, it's coming to the most wonderful time in life, as knowledge is like we don't have to go to the library. We can go to whatever phone is, whatever computer you have. So within all that, Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu hamelech haolam. May Yehovah Baruch bless you, and may Yeshua fill your everlasting heart. Shalom, shalom.